Punching the button, making sure I'm recording. Give my notes. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance. This is Weekly Scrap number 66. The special guest tonight is Jim Moss. He is the best-selling co-author of Firefighter Functional Fitness. He has presented and taught all across the country. Basically, if there's a major conference to teach at, he has taught there. And recently, the most important thing tonight is he has published a brand new book, Firefighter Success, as well as a podcast that goes along with it. He's returning. He is a returning guest on the Scrap, and it's my pleasure to have you back, Mr. Jim Moss. Thank you for being the guest on number 66.
Hey man, I can't thank you enough. Can't thank you enough for having me back on. I don't know if I'm the first repeat guest, but it's good to be back, and I'm so grateful for all your support and everything that you've been helping me with. So I appreciate it.
Brother, I am super excited about the book. It's currently my go-to in the morning. I'm going to read one chapter every day until I finish it again. I basically took your advice that you said, here's how to read it. Buzz through it, don't do anything, and then go back through it with the highlighters and the notes. So I'm on the buzz through it. I've done with the buzz through it. I'm on the highlighters and the notes. And so today I was back at chapter 1, and I read through, of course, the introduction, the forward, and then your take, and then chapter 1, and I'm loving it. So to everyone watching live, if you have questions for me or Jim, don't hesitate. Send them in the comments so I can throw them at him, and we will go from there. And did I miss anything or anything to add from the introduction?
I think you covered it all. You did perfect, man.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. That's my favorite part. So I'm going to talk about the book right out the get-go because I've already even said it. I'm a huge fan of this book. And if people who know the Scrap, I don't have ads. I don't have sponsors. You can't come to me and say, hey, I want you to. If I don't believe in it, it's not coming on here. And this thing is 20 principles that set you up for success, not just professionally, but personally. These are timeless, and it's presented so well, so beautifully. And I was just talking to Jim about, I'm so jealous of how well laid out this book is. And you can just flip to anywhere in it. And it's not just the 20 principles. I can't even include all the value that's put in there with the 101s, the 100 list of trainings, all of it, man. So congratulations. I'm going to gush a little bit about your book because I am such a huge fan of it.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. And I really enjoyed your book too. I don't want you to cut yourself short, but I enjoyed your book too. And we'll talk about action. Your book is focused on action, and my book's focused on action.
Dude, that's one of the things I love is you have the action steps, man. I love, love, love action. And like I said, I'll just get right to the book. We'll just start talking about it. And I want to get to right to you and say, what was the reason and motivation for you writing the book?
Yeah. So there's kind of different parts to it. But I think, and I say this in the from the author section that I wrote to the reader at the very beginning of the book to kind of let them know what they're about to get into and what it's all about. But one of the things I say is that as firefighters, so many times we tend to solely focus on strategies, tactics, skills, knowledge, and those things are fundamental, right? They're so important. And I agree that we all need that. But I wanted to go beyond that, right? Because you can be a firefighter and have all those things, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a successful firefighter. That doesn't mean you're going to be a great firefighter. You need to make sure that you have that life balance, and you need to make sure that we lead ourselves first, right? Before we can influence anyone else. And that was the other part of the book, is that a successful firefighter is someone who adds value to someone else. A successful firefighter is someone that impacts someone else and looks to leave a legacy on someone else's life. I want to make sure when I retire from the fire service, Lord willing, that I leave a legacy, I leave a positive impact on those around me and the fire service as a whole, right? I want to lead to positive change because we know there's so much negativity. We know there's so much apathy and mediocrity within the fire service. And that's why I wanted to call it 20 C's to Firefighter Excellence. Each chapter begins with a C, a different core principle or core value. And so I want to make sure that we're pushing ourselves towards excellence, right? We're not going to achieve perfection, right?
But we'll chase it.
Right. But yeah, we'll chase it and we're going to strive to it. And I'm someone who has high expectations for myself and for my others, for my crew members, for my children, because my dad had high expectations for me, right? So
right.
I just kind of try and live that out every day, and make sure I do the best I can and be the best I can be as a firefighter, right? And so I wanted to give, whether it's an aspiring firefighter, whether it's a new firefighter or aspiring officer, new fire officer, the book has timeless principles that just
Absolutely.
go up and down every single rank of the fire service. It doesn't matter if you're an aspiring firefighter or you're about to retire with 40 years on, God bless you if you are. But just making sure that I passed on principles that other leaders have taught me, right? Other successful firefighters and people outside of the fire service as well, not just firefighters, but my mentors have passed on to me. I want to make sure that I pass that on to others. And I'm very clear in the intro. I said, I am not a perfect example of every single thing in this book, right?
Right.
I wrote it, but I aspire to these things also. I've made a ton of mistakes. I am not perfect. So I am in my own journey, my own success journey to be as, the best version of myself that I can be. So I just wanted to pass on something that, what I believe every great firefighter, every successful firefighter should aspire towards. And that's what I'm trying to do for myself. Right. So that's what it's all about.
Love it. And I wasn't even going to ask you this, but I'm going to throw this at you. And I'm sorry for just throwing you a curveball right out the get-go. But I was listening to you and Frank Viscuso today, and you lead off every podcast with, what does success look like for you? And so I'm going to spin it back around on you and throw it at you and say, what does success look like for you?
I love it because I ask so many other people that, but no one ever asked me what I think about
All right,
that.
there you go.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I appreciate that. I say, and the same about from the author section, I say, so many times firefighters, we tend to think success is achieving a certain rank, getting a certain pay grade, right? Or making a certain amount of money, having a certain amount of power, right? Sometimes firefighters place their value on how much they know or how many fires they've been to, right? Some firefighters say, "Oh, I've been over 1,000 fires," but is that what makes you successful? I would say no, right?
Right.
So, like I said before, why I wrote this book, I define success as leaving a positive impact and adding value to other people, right? And that's what the biggest thing to me is. That if I can do that, and if you read chapter 20, coach,
Right.
being a coach or a mentor to someone else, that's the culmination of someone's success, right? Is pouring into someone else, helping them be better and helping them to be the best that they can possibly be. And if I do that in some way during my time in the fire service, I would say I achieved success for myself.
No, and like I said, I don't want to give away the ending of the book like it's a drama. It does go full
That's
circle,
okay.
man. It does go, and it's beautiful, man.
Thank you.
So we got John, I'm going to mispronounce that, Shostetz the third said, I am new to the weekly scrap. I think I've seen 4 episodes. I've only been a captain for about 2 years, and I can't thank you and your guests enough for the wealth of information you've given to me. Thank you very much, man. Thank you for the compliment very much. I'm going to move back and say, what was I going to ask you about? This is one-stop shop for success. The principles, if you follow them, you will have success in your career as your firefighter in your personal life. So one of the things I absolutely love, and we've already touched on this, is the action step. It is not just a read it, put it on the shelf, and forget about it. This is like a reference book, and this has action steps at the end of every one of the chapters. One of the things I had trouble with was coming up with definable actions to go with principles. Talk to me about coming up with yours and just your process, and how tough was it for you, basically?
Yeah. So, as you said, at the end of each chapter, there are very specific action steps or questions for you to answer or something to put into action, put in place, right? And so I think so many times we read a book and we go chapter by chapter and we just kind of coast along and we don't really think about it too much if we're reading a book, and it tends to become just ideas, and it tends to be theory, right?
Sure.
But just like we did in Firefighter Functional Fitness, the other book I co-wrote with Chief Dan Kerrigan, we put action steps at the end of each chapter because that was one of our key principles, is taking action with whatever you just read or whatever you believe, right? So I just did follow the same process for this because I wanted to make sure that people didn't just read the book and put it down and put their their bookmark it and just throw it on the shelf, right? I want to make sure that when they got to the end of the chapter, there was very specific actions for them to come up with. So, I mean, if I'll just open anywhere in the book, you asked how I came up with certain action steps.
I like this.
Yeah. So let's go to consistency, chapter 10. That's page 117. And so in the middle of the chapter, the first question is for the action steps: complete the successful and unsuccessful habits exercise in the chapter. And so that's the other thing. I included exercises within each chapter and questions within each chapter. So I give a list of, I don't know what page you're on, but I give a list of a lot of successful habits for firefighters. I give a list of a lot of unsuccessful habits for firefighters. And I make sure firefighters go through those and say, hey, which one of these do you identify with more? Hopefully they're on the left-hand side with the successful habits, right? And then the page after that, which habits describe you? Pick 3 successful habits that you want to adopt to get better at doing. What are they? And then for each of these successful habits, write down specific actions you can take over the next 2 weeks that will help you adopt them. And then pick 3 unsuccessful habits that you want to eliminate. What are they? And for each of these unsuccessful habits, write down specific actions that you're going to take over the next 2 weeks that will help you not do them, right?
Right.
So, yeah. And so just some of those steps, I wanted to make sure people put this all into action instead of just thinking about it, right? Because
and I like the specificity, and I'm a huge START goals guy, so I think that kind of plays into it. SMART goals, but absolutely.
Yeah, and the second action step, what I really believe in, it says that the 2 best habits a firefighter can implement are waking up early and showing up early. If you do those 2 things, adopt those into your daily routine, that's going to be a huge element.
You're setting yourself up for success. I love that it's Firefighter Success, and I love the theme of it.
Thank you.
And like you said, you're not sitting here saying that you've mastered these. It's like, I think one of the things I said at the beginning of my book was, if I had mastered all these principles in here, then I would be the greatest leader that ever lived, Right. And so
we're all works in progress.
That's it, man. It's just that journey, that get better everyday journey.
Yeah.
LJ Guy said, just got my book today. Congrats, LJ. I am ready to dive into it and be better.
Yeah, scratch that thing up, highlight, circle, and let me know what you like.
And leave that review on Amazon. Joey Hayes says, written like a daily devotional, I gotta have it. You do. So, moving on. The book has 20 C's to the Firefighter Excellence, and I'm throwing this at you again. I'm throwing these curveballs at you. I hope you don't mind. It's Firehouse Vigilance is dedicated to the never-ending fight against complacency, and I know complacency is not one of the 20 C's, but I'm flipping it around and discussing complacency and how this book can help in that fight. Yeah.
So as the title of the book says, 20 C's to Firefighter Excellence, right? And so I do not believe that we are put on this earth to just be average. I do not believe in it. I don't care who you are. You can be a rookie firefighter or you can be the grizzled 30-year chief. We're not meant to be average in whatever position we're in, right? And so I'm always striving to be the best I can be, and I want to make sure others do that well. And that's one of the things I love about being a company officer is trying to push that envelope and push people, to become better. And I really think there's really no better position in the fire service than being a company officer. But like you said, it's I can't accept mediocrity, and nor can you, nor can any other firefighter, because as we've talked about before, I'm sure, who do you want showing up to your house, right? I'm at work and my family's at home, right? Fire breaks out in my house. What kind of firefighters do I want showing up at my house fire when I'm not there to help my family, right? I want the best firefighters. So I don't want them to be the ones that are the bare minimum standard firefighters, right? The ones that can just barely throw a 14-foot ladder,
yes,
and don't know what to do
emergency, not my emergency. Insurance is going to pay for it. Whatever, I get paid the same no matter if I go or don't go.
Right. I want the firefighters that hustle, right? I want the firefighters that move with purpose and intentionality, right? And so that's the firefighter I want to be for my citizens when I'm out there serving them and protecting them, right? So that's why I take my training so seriously, whether it's a hands-on training, firefighter type training, or if it's fitness training, right?
Yeah.
That's why I take the books I read so seriously, right? And that's why I take this seriously when I wrote it,
The
because I
books you
wanted to
write
make
so
sure
seriously, yes.
that's right.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I impact others in a way that helps motivate them to not be mediocre, to make sure that they're not average, that they're pushing the envelope and hopefully striving towards excellence.
That's awesome, man. And I don't know if excellence is the opposite of complacency, but it has to be pretty damn close. So I
It's a lot
love it.
higher, right?
I think so. I want to know is I don't want to go through the whole page the book page by page. People need to get the book. There's so much in it, from the quotes to the tables to the steps, the action steps, and the concepts. Too much to cover. But I wanted to touch on one of my favorite chapters, and that was credibility, chapter 12,
Oh,
and just
nice.
talk about it, man, because it's such an important topic that I think gets left out of the discussion a lot of times when you're talking about firehouse culture and leadership and success and excellence. Is that credibility is such a huge deal.
Right. So yeah, I love that chapter too. And I didn't place these in order in the book of importance,
Sure.
right? Some of them I had a little bit of structure where I wanted to place them, but every single thing is important to me in the
Right.
book, right? It's not just one thing over the other, but credibility. I mean, if you think about it, and we can talk about it at various ranks and levels, as a new firefighter, don't you want to be credible? Don't you want your crew to believe you and believe in you? Don't you want to be able to prove yourself every single day to your crew, to your citizens, to your family, to the ones you serve? And so, when I talk about credibility, how are you going to do that, right? You need to make sure that you're doing the right things in the right way to build trust with your crew first. And one of my good friends, Jake, he passed on the antidote to me that I put in the book. I said, and what he told me is that you need to first build credibility and trust with your crew, your company first, right? Then you can go beyond that to your battalion, then to your shift, and then to your fire department, right? And that takes time. It's not
Yeah.
just like it happens overnight, right? And it's a day in, day out thing. And we also Jake and I talked about the importance of credibility as it pertains to, say, you are going for a promotion, right, down
Right.
the road, whether you're, going for a driver, operator, engineer spot, whether you're going for a LT or a captain's, company officer spot. The day of the promotion is not your only test. Your test should be every single day of the year, right?
Yes.
365 days a year. So yes, you can be studying and you can know all your policies and procedures. You can, know everything you need to know about your district's rules and regulations, but you need to make sure that you consider your interview every single day of your career, right?
Oh,
Leading up until
100%,
that,
man. Oh,
until you're leading up to that promotional process, right? The day that you have your interview and all that. So that's building credibility every single day. And we all know that we're going to make mistakes and we're going to screw up along the way. And we all do, right? Every single one of us do. And when we make those mistakes, own up to them, right? And make sure you say, my bad, and I'm not going to do it again, and learn from it, right? Because that builds a lot of credibility too.
yes.
So many firefighters are so cocky, they're so arrogant, and they're just driven by their ego, and they can't just say I'm wrong or I did it wrong or whatever. It's always like, oh well, he put the ladder there and it's his fault for that reason or whatever. No, if you did something wrong, then own up to it, right? And the
Right.
quicker you do, the quicker you're going to build more credibility with whoever saw what you did wrong, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah. So I think it all just comes back to trust, and think about the ways you're going to build that trust with your crew and your citizens as well, right? And especially let's talk about leadership and credibility. Credibility
Yeah.
is everything, right?
Right.
So if your crew does not, those your subordinates or your crew members don't trust you, they don't respect you because you're not believable, right? And you're fake, and you do, you tell your crew to do something and you do the opposite of that. You lack character and you lack integrity. Are they going to follow you? No, because you don't have credibility. So it really permeates every single position. And, whether it's your first year on the job or your 20th year on the job, whether you're a new rookie or whether you're a senior firefighter or a chief, Your credibility is everything.
Everything. Man, I love that. And that's the reason I wanted to touch on it, because that was one of my favorite chapters, because it does, sometimes it gets folded into humility, and we touched on it. You touched on it here. And I know you and me are huge fans of humility and leadership. But credibility is such a big deal. So I'm going to get you personal here and say, do you have a favorite C from the book, and why?
Yeah. Well, you just touched on it, really. So the chapter I started the book with, being coachable, right? And you said the H word, humility, right? I really, and I'm really passionate about this. I really believe that the foundation of every firefighter success comes back to being humble and making sure, by when we're saying we're humble, that we're teachable, that we're coachable, and that we're always willing to learn, right? Because we're never, ever going to know it all. We're never going to arrive at knowing it all. We're never going to experience every situation that a firefighter can experience on the fire ground or other emergency scenes. So I think by being humble, you're saying that I am always in this pursuit of getting better. I am always willing to push myself, because I know I don't know it all. So I'm going to keep on pushing myself to know more and more. And then, like we just talked about with credibility and making mistakes, we're all going to make mistakes. So have that humility to say, I made a mistake and I'm not going to do it again. And I learned from it and move on, whether it's an error of commission, committing the error,
right,
or the omission, right?
Right.
So either way, making sure that you own up to your mistakes is huge. And like we said before, so many firefighters have so much pride and ego, and they don't want to say that they were wrong, which, we've talked about before, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but ego is really the enemy to progress, to success, and so many other things.
I don't want to date myself, but Happy Days, whenever Fonzie, he was like, I was raw. He couldn't even say it. But no, to the humility, when you do make a mistake, man, it's so much of what defines you is how you respond to it. And that humility is so important, because if you can say, man, I screwed up, I'm going to do it better next time. Let's make it better. Let me figure out how. Now,
and that's how we grow, right?
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you just make the mistake over and over and over, well, that's a different problem altogether. So, Awesome. Okay, so now staying personal is, which C is your personal struggle?
Now, why you gotta go there, man?
Why you
gotta go there?
Because I want to know.
No, that's good, because I asked some of my guests. They're super successful fire officers. There's mentors of mine, and I asked Mark Von Alpen on the podcast the other day. I was like, "Hey, you're good at so many things. What aren't you good at?" And he's like, "Why you got to do that to me?" He's like, "A lot. Thanks,
There's a
Jim.
laundry list.
A lot. Yeah. No, but for me, so a couple things. I would say, so one of the chapters is communication, and I'm big on communicating to others. But I asked my wife, and I say this in the book, ask my wife, I am a recovering bad listener, like so many other men out there. So I'm trying to get better at listening, but I can become, and we can all become distracted by so many things nowadays, especially with, these fun things that we have. We can become distracted by so many things, and really being intentional with putting the phone down, putting it away, making sure I don't, get it out of my pocket when it dings or whatever while someone's talking to me. Those are really important things for me to try and work on, and to, just really listen to what someone says to me. Like if I have someone on my crew who said, "Oh, my daughter's sick. This has been going on in my house," and making sure I follow up with that with them, right? And making sure that I showed them that I care, that I was listening. So that is definitely one of them for me. And I think another one that probably a lot of firefighters deal with is compassion. And we all know that if someone really needs help, and we know not all emergencies are emergencies, right? Not all of our calls are very, require 911.
Absolutely.
We're always there to serve the public and to help others. So sometimes, and I've had to really sharpen myself with this and try and get better at it, is if it's not a very urgent situation, and yes, maybe my crew members or myself don't believe we really need to be there for this situation, is having that compassion, and I'll speak also for my family life, having compassion with my kids.
Right.
I was kind of raised by my dad, who was tough love in a lot of ways. He loved me dearly, but he was tough love in a lot of ways. And so I'm sure I inherited that. And so I'm sure I passed it on to my kids too. So that's something I work on as well, as being more compassionate towards them and to my wife as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Communication, compassion, both. And like you said, man, when it's a hangnail at 3 a.m. and you're like, why are you calling 911?
Yeah. Yep.
But
bite my tongue.
That's it, man. It's that control, which is, all right.
Hey, that's C number 21. I'm going to add that in the next edition.
It's a sequel.
Yeah.
The podcast, man, is off and running. I've enjoyed all 5 episodes. I say 4.5 because I'm halfway through Frank Viscuso and you talking.
Oh, good.
I got to listen to it driving around today, and I thoroughly enjoyed your podcast so far, man. It is off and running. You have had some amazing guests, including your partner in crime, Dina Ali, Mark Von Oppen, Frank Viscuso, Jason Hovelman. Dude, it's a great compliment to the book, and then just click it on in the car, and I'm loving it so far.
Good, man. Well, thank you. Thanks for all your help with it as well.
What do you think of it so far? What do you think of having the guests on? What do you think of talking to it, man?
So I'll be honest, man. I've been on so many podcasts, not to brag, but I've been on a lot of podcasts, right? And It's been an honor to do that with Firefighter Functional Fitness. But the thought of starting my own podcast was very daunting to me. And I had to swallow my pride and take my own advice and get out of my own comfort zone. And now that I've done it, and I've recorded about 10 episodes, almost 10 episodes now, I just love it. I'm sure like you love it. It's just getting to learn from people that, you really look up to, and people and friends that have poured into you. And hopefully I poured into them as well. And hopefully you've liked the conversations we've had. But it's been a lot of fun, and I've definitely stretched myself and gotten out of my comfort zone and starting my own podcast. But like you said, I wanted something that was going along with the book and complementing the book. And one of the things, like you already said, is that I ask every single guest, what does success mean to you? And each of the responses is a little bit different, right? Each of their responses is unique, and it's fun to kind of pull from each of them what they define as success, and then what are their key traits that they see in successful firefighters. And I love hearing different people's responses, because one person might say competence. That is the most important thing to a successful firefighter. And then like Jason Holtman, he thinks empathy is one of the greatest qualities of leaders. So it's so good and so fun to hear different people's opinions on all these different things. And I'm looking forward to having so many more. So I got some great other guests recorded and lined up. Good,
man. Good. I look forward to it. It's on my listen list. So it helps my drive to and from the gym and to and from the station.
Good. I'm going to drop a one-liner in there one time and be like, hey, Corley, stay awake. Come on, get another set in. I'm just going to give you some subliminal encouragement.
Okay. I'll look for it.
Good.
I will comment on it.
Good.
Since you have presented at every major conference across the country, basically, I'm just, what are the biggest challenges you have faced in teaching, and tips for others and how you overcome it? Just in general, tips for others on teaching and sharing the message.
Yeah. So teaching your peers can be quite daunting, especially in your own fire department. Oh, yeah. And so I want to give a shout out to all the fire instructors out there, especially training officers within their own fire departments, those who teach, and train at their own fire departments. Shout out to you guys. I did it for a while at my fire department, more on the EMS side. And we all know as company officers, we need to be our own crews training officers as well and leading training. But tips that I would say is that know that every person's time is valuable, and get to the point in what you want them to learn. Don't add any fluff. Go over the basics and make sure that whatever you're teaching them is directly applicable to what the job is going to have. And that's one of the three R's that I share in the book in the competence chapter. The 3 R's of training is making sure that it's relevant, right? First of all, it applies to what we do on our job, making sure it's realistic. So I'm not doing some crazy off the wall, 1 in a million scenario, right? I'm going to do something that hopefully it's a 1 in 10 scenario or a 1 in 5 scenario that we're going to do over and over again. And then the last R is making sure that we can repeat it. It's repeatable, or repetition, and making sure we're over and over again, we're doing those skills to where it just becomes muscle memory, or, it becomes ingrained in our psyche, that we don't have to think about how to do it when it's 2 a.m. in the morning, we're sleep deprived, it's raining outside, and, we make sure we know how to VES, or we know how to pull this line without fail, and making sure that, we're confident in all those things. So that's what I would say for all those instructors that are out there. If you want to teach, just make sure that you don't waste people's time, that you get straight to the point, and that whatever you're teaching is relevant to whatever that firefighter is going to do, and have some takeaways from them. Like, if you can include a PDF, if you could, leave a book, or if someone, wants to buy a book or something like that, giving them a resource that what you just taught, they can take it and put it into action and get some more information.
Love it. Relevant, realistic, repeatable.
That's right.
Okay. Making sure I had the 3 R's right. So
good.
Awesome. And I want to ask this one. I've been asking this one a lot lately, and it's, what are your keys for staying engaged and motivated? Because you've been doing this a while, and you are at the top of your game right now. So.
Oh, good. It's only downhill from here. That's right. No, like I said before, my dad raised me to be the best I could possibly be. And I think I told this story to Ryan Rodriguez on his Ignited Firefighter podcast. I put it in the book. I said one time, I got a C on my report card. I was probably in 4th grade. And my dad gave me grief about it. He said, "You got a C?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Dad, C's average." And he looked me straight in the eye. He said, "You're not average, son." That always, made an impact on me. And so I'm not pushing myself to be just average. I want to be the best I can possibly be. And by teaching these principles, teaching firefighter functional fitness, it provides a great level of accountability for me to be at the top of my game.
There is no doubt.
Once you put a book out there and you're teaching it, you need to make sure that you're doing the best you can, holding yourself accountable to what you're preaching, right? Practice what you preach.
Oh, it goes right back to that credibility, man.
That's right. No and I think it also comes back to what motivates me is that I want to be the best dad I can be. I want to be the best husband I can be, for my wife. I want to be the best captain I can be for my crew. I want to be the best company officer for my fire department that I can be for my citizens. And so, like we said before, we can't accept mediocrity. We can't be complacent. We can't accept being average. And that's kind of how I frame it all.
I love that.
Is making sure that I'm just pushing myself as hard as I can. And, there's a great argument. Do you rely on motivation? Do you rely on discipline?
Right?
Discipline. Is motivation extrinsic? Can you be extrinsically motivated? Can you be intrinsically motivated? What is it? I think it can be a little bit of everything. But I think I would say I'm a person that is very intrinsically motivated.
Okay.
But I want to make sure that like I said before, I'm doing the best I can for my family, for my wife and kids, and for my fire department as well.
No, I love it. And I love the fact that you say, I want to be the best, because you say it unapologetically, because a lot of people are like, they shy away from, like, I'm not trying to, like, almost like a false humility. But the thing is like, I want to be the best. I make no bones about it. I may not be the best, but that is my goal.
Right. The best I can be. I'm not trying to be better than anyone else, but I want to be the best I can be.
Best version of myself. 100%, man. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask this. You do a lot of presentations on firefighter functional fitness. Have you got Firefighter Success put together as a presentation? Is it coming? Is it coming to a classroom near you?
You got to pump the brakes, man. You got to pump the brakes. No, no. Someone else asked me that too. Okay. They're like, "Hey, do you have lesson plans for each of these already?" Right. I was like, so it's kind of funny. I mean, I got my full-time job, right?
Sure.
I'm a career fire officer, and that's my number one priority. So I took my time really writing this book over the last 2 years. 2019, I wrote the manuscript of it. And then all of 2020 has kind of been doing the layout, the design, the cover, the logos, and all that kind of stuff. So I want to make sure I didn't rush it because it's kind of like your baby, right?
Sure.
You want to make sure that it's as good as you can get it. And all that. Now that the book is out, I think the next thing I want to do is make sure I get it on Audible, get it recorded on Audible. And then, yes, I will put together some lesson plans based on the 20 C's. And definitely, if anyone wants to have me, I'll definitely go out and teach and do what I can to pour into others.
I think it's going to make a great presentation, man. So
thank you, man.
I can't wait to catch it. So that's plain and simple. All right. Now,
good.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm going to test it out on you first.
That's fair. We'll do it in a private Zoom meeting. I'll just record it and leak it, bootleg
it. Good.
The book or books. Now, of course, Firefighter Success. Get a copy. Get a copy today. If you read only one book on how to be a successful firefighter, I'm really hyped on this book, and I know I'm gushing a little bit about it. And it's not just because Jim is the guest today. I really do enjoy this book. Book or books that have influenced you that you think, this is the second time I've asked you this question, but I still want to hit you with it, which is book or books that you think firefighters should be reading.
When it comes to leading yourself, without a doubt, Step Up and Lead is a great book. And if you're looking for something outside of the fire service that really impacted me, was a book called Play the Man by Mark Batterson. My faith is something that's really important to me, so it helped me be a better leader within my family. For myself, I had a lot of great principles, and I have some Mark Batterson quotes in the Firefighter Success book too. So if you see him in there, that's where some of that influence is from as well. And so, I'm not someone who reads, fiction a whole lot. I'm someone who likes to get something out of the book and put it into action within my own life. So I love No Exceptions Leadership by Jason Holman.
Yes.
I love Mindset by John Spera and Tom Johnson. So all great books that are going to help, develop me into becoming a better person and leader for my crew and for my family as well.
And you mentioned John Spera. John Spera chimed in and said, "Good stuff, Jim." He said that before you mentioned him. I just wanted to throw it out there. That was a comment.
Oh, good. It wasn't just flattery, John.
No, I like it. I'm working on a new project, and it's kind of germinating. I haven't even quite fleshed it out, but I want to, because of all the great people I'm lucky enough to have on here and talk to week in, week out. I'm going to work on a survey, and it's going to be a firefighter leadership survey.
Awesome.
I'm just trying to figure out what all the questions are going to be on, because I don't want it to be buried in minutia where guys are just like, but I want it to be relevant, maybe 15, 20 questions, and then I'm going to compile that. So anyway,
that's awesome.
I'm going to put that in your brain to think about what's some good questions to put on it, and I'm going to keep picking your brain on it while I work on it. And it's going to, like I said, it's very early on. I think I was driving today. I think it might have been Viscuso and you talking that got me sparked into thinking what to put together where you could put out this information almost like 67% of these fire service leaders do this as a daily habit type thing. And
that'd be awesome.
It'd be interesting to figure out. Okay.
And Corley Moore does all of them 100% all of the time.
All the time.
Perfect at all
perfect.
Of them. Yeah.
That's pretty much gold stars all the way down.
Yeah.
Just ask my wife. She'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. Right.
I have a thing on the weekly scrap, and it is the 5 questions for firefighters. It did not exist when you came on the first time, and it has evolved into this. So it is completely 100% your opinion. The points are completely arbitrary and assigned by me. And basically, it is the 5 questions for firefighters. So, John Spera, are you ready for the 5 questions for firefighters?
Wait, you're asking John Spera, or you're asking me?
I'm sorry, I read John Spera's good stuff, Jim.
Okay, good.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For the 5 questions for firefighters.
I'm ready.
Bad. Excellent. Number 1, what is the number 1 issue facing the modern fire service?
Whew. Just one. I would have to say mediocrity, like you said. I think that people are becoming too complacent. I think they're just trying to do the bare minimum to get by, and they're not striving towards excellence, as we talked about.
Short, sweet, and perfect answer. So I will give max points on mediocrity. Plus, for being gracious on me reading the name wrong. What is the thing? Number 2. What is the thing you are most excited about for the future of firefighting?
Oh, well, I love technology. And, I wrote a whole chapter on change within the
Yes.
fire service, right? And so we are in a profession that is constantly evolving, constantly changing, right? And I say in there, if you're a firefighter who's unwilling to change, you might as well get out. You're going to be one of those unsuccessful firefighters. If you're resistant to change, it's going to be a real tough road for you, because I'm sure you can talk to the 30-year firefighter who's on the job, and they can tell you how much it's just changed in the last 30 years, right? I give a fun kind of brief 300-year history of the U.S. Fire Service and how much has changed, and I'm sure there was a lot that was left out of that. But I think technology and embracing it and seeing how we can use it to deliver better training, to deliver better tactics and strategies, maybe incident command on a scene. I think we should embrace everything as much as possible and go with the change. If it's making us better, let's embrace technology if we can.
I like it. I like that. And I like that chapter. It was one of the later, it was right before 20. I think it was 19, wasn't it?
I'll just say yes.
Okay. Yeah, number 18. It was 18. I was checking to get it right. I knew it was later in the book, and I did love change. Number 3, the best rank or position to be in the fire service.
Well, I think I already said it, company officer. I think I've never been a chief, but I have been a firefighter. Haven't been a driver operator. I think that would be really cool to be a driver operator. But yeah, I think company officer for me personally is where it's at. I think you are me. I'm passionate about leading. I'm passionate about training. So I get to do that with my crew at the company level. I love just hanging out with the crew and joking around. Love training with my crew. Love even just cooking for my crew and eating dinner with my crew and just hanging out at the kitchen table.
That is in there, yes.
It's important. I mean, the way to a firefighter's mind and heart is through their stomach. So you got to make sure you cook good meals for them. But no, I think company officer is where it's at because of the level of positive impact and change you can have at that position.
Awesome. The always number one answer for best position is company officer. That's why I give out the max points for it because that is the correct answer. And to get max points on that and any other thing, it has to be the most compelling argument in the world. But you didn't need it because you had it correct out the gate. Yeah. So of course that's my opinion. So for what it's worth, take it or leave it.
I think Bobby Holton said the current position you're in, right?
Yes.
Well, it's whatever you make of it. And I really believe that too.
No, he's not wrong. I mean, how are you going to go wrong? Bobby, you can't go wrong. There's been so many great answers to that. One of my favorites was Eric Saylor's out of San Francisco, and he broke down each position, and basically it was one of the most articulate answers I've ever received to that, just each one. But
wow,
again, there's been so many good answers to it. Number 4, the best advice you have ever received.
I think we kind of talked about it already, is that be humble, be coachable, be teachable, and make sure that you're always willing to learn. And that's kind of what I pass on. I go over that time and time again in the book. I know I do. But that's really the best advice I've received, making sure that you know that you never arrived. You never arrive as a husband, as a friend, as a fire officer, as a firefighter, that you're always willing to be teachable, be coachable, and be humble.
No, and you're consistent in that. And I love the fact that if you get nothing else out of Firefighter Success, then be coachable, be teachable, be humble, then you're going to be successful. I mean, if it's just that one C.
Yeah, amen.
So,
yeah.
All right, number 5. It's heavy fire, and there is searchable space. So, would you rather be assigned to the nozzle, first in VES?
VES. All day long. I mean, if you have that opportunity to make that grab, to make that rescue, that's what I would want to do. I think that's far less common than most of us who have, done engine company operations. I think if we can make that grab and actually save someone's life and make a difference that way, I mean, saving property is great. We all agree with that, but making sure if we can save that life, it's more important.
I like it. I love it. Can't argue with VES. So there it is. The 5 questions for firefighters according to Jim Moss of Firefighter Success. getting it right. So what I want to say, Ron Rating said, enjoying the book, great information for me to continue growing in my fire service career, and I will be letting my new firefighters read it for sure. So they have not tossed any hardball questions at you. So you've escaped the wrath of the viewers.
So far, yeah, that's right. Okay.
But you're getting great.
Maybe I can skate on. I can skate on out of here. I mean, without the hard ones.
Getting some good compliments, and so best place to contact you if they want to book a class, especially firefighter functional fitness or the to be developed Firefighter Success PowerPoint presentation. Best place to get a hold of you and get information.
Yeah, so for Firefighter Success, please go to firefighters.successbook.com. There you can find the book. There you can have the free download, 101 Rules to Firefighter Success, completely free download. You can post it in your station, share it with others. So there's that. And you can also access the podcast at firefighters.successbook.com. A lot of great stuff on there. That was another thing that was very intentional about with this book is that a portion of each book purchase goes to first responder charities. So that's something very near and dear to me. And I want to make sure that people know that as well.
Yes.
As it pertains to firefighter functional fitness, go to firefighterfunctionalfitness.com. And you can contact us there. You can get the book, you can get decals, coins, t-shirts, whatever you want there. More importantly, if we can come out to your fire department and do one of our workshops once all this COVID craziness stops, that would be great.
Right.
And we can come out and do our workshops more normally like we used to prior to the pandemic. And we'll get that done for you. So there's a contact us form on both of those websites. And yeah, just if you want to have us out, please do so. If you want to email me, firefightersuccess@gmail.com is the quickest, easiest way to do that.
Okay.
And I think that's about it. Thanks, brother.
That's awesome, man. No, it's awesome. Is there anything I left out? Anything you want to mention about the book, the podcast?
No, I think we covered it all. I'm waiting for these curveballs to come in from somebody. I was thinking John Sparrow would ask me a tough question, or someone else would.
They're letting you skate so far, so
that's all right. I'll take it.
A couple things I want to mention, which is I want to say thanks to my crew who bought me this beautiful challenge coin display American flag, which has replaced my American flag in the background. Super pumped about it. I'm adding a couple of coins. I got this one this November, which is Tactics Put Out Fires. It's worth the risk. Just got it at Isaacson's.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm very proud. That one's going in. And then this one's from OK Task Force 1, the K9 Rescue Group, from Matt Sparky Powell and Tyler Berry. So anyway, I'm going to do this every scrap. I'm going to show the coins I'm adding. So if you have coins that need to be added, let me know. And other than that, Garrett Tao said, sorry about not having any questions. I'm trying to get my motivation and enthusiasm back up after getting told off by my LT for trying new things. That definitely sounds like a tough situation.
Yep. Just keep pushing and doing the right thing and it will come, and sometimes people aren't open to new ideas, but keep pushing yourself, keep developing yourself and surround yourself with other successful firefighters that are going to help you be better. Reach out to people on social media, reach out to me, reach out to Corley.
Absolutely.
For that encouragement and for sharing ideas, training ideas with each other. And that's okay. If, that happens, you got to move past it and keep pushing yourself and stay positive.
And one of the things I've really been, another one of my things that have been germinating is it's this whole concept of being effective is more important than being right. Mm-hmm. And so I'm working on it and it's going to be coming, but basically just make sure you're being effective and not just worrying about being right.
Right.
And so again, it goes back to that humility, coachable, teachable, that might be part of the firefighter success.
Yep.
So.
Maybe that's one. You asked that one question. What's one thing you would change? Is more firefighters, be more humble and be more teachable within the fire service.
Ooh, I like it. All right, there it is, Mr. Jim Moss. You've been an excellent guest. I appreciate you coming on.
No, thanks, brother. It's been a lot of fun, and let's do it again sometime.
I wish you nothing but success with Firefighter Success, and I'm super as a person who's written a book. I am super jealous of just how beautiful the book is, man. So
thanks. That was important to me to lay it out so firefighters would like it and find it visually appealing. And so, yeah, I wanted to include it. And I also want to give a shout out to the photographer and his work that's in the book.
Yes.
Yeah. Chris Mead. California photographer. He has excellent photographs within each chapter of the book and beyond. So make sure you check out his work, csmeedphotography.com. He's an awesome guy and supported me greatly through it all.
Super gifted. I think we both use a ton of his photos to make our motivational
awesome.
posts, man. He's
awesome.
He is so good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it, man. Coming up, we have last guest of 2020 will be Hino Hisa. I will someday say his name right, and so I don't get punched when he comes on. And that is December 30th, so just a couple days away. We got Daryl Liggins, Dave Mellon, Garrett Rice, Kurt Isaacson. That's all in January, so it's going to be a fun January. Brother, you have been awesome to wrap up 2020 with. I hope you've had a great Christmas and a great New Year coming up. And
thanks, man. God bless you. Thank you.
To everybody watching live, I hope the tone stays silent unless it's burning. Stay safe out there. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, thanks, brother.